What's up, guys? Back with another video. I think we're gonna dive into what it's like moving into adulthood. And I think it's one of the most craziest things because when you're growing up and you're getting that coming of age and you're advancing, growing up, uh, getting your license and everything, your parents are, you know, preparing you for what the real world's going to be like and all these things you're going to experience, and they try their best at doing that. And even before you become an adult, a lot of the times, if you have, somewhat of decent parents, I can't say that everybody has that type of connection with their parents where it's like that. But for those that do, a lot of the times you're usually sheltered from that for a long time until you finally get that taste of what adulthood is like when you finally go out and do it yourself. I, for one, can definitely say that for a lot of my life I was sheltered from adulthood and what exactly it entailed. But it got to a certain point, probably when I became around the age of, I'd say 13 or 14, kind of what it was like and what exactly went into being an adult. And this didn't really happen until I started figuring out, you know, money and how it's earned and how valuable currency actually is. Because when I was a kid, come around Christmas time, everybody would fill out their lists or whatever, and we would you would put the most ridiculous things on that list, hoping, praying that you would get that. Like when the Xbox 360 came out. Oh my God, I put that on my list every year for years. And I was always disappointed when it came Christmas time and, I didn't get it. But as a kid, you don't know that. You know, it, you're all mad and you get pouty, and I come from, having two other siblings, so, you know, your older sibling would always get the better present, and you pout and throw a hissy fit and throw your things around the room and be like, he got more stuff for Christmas, or he got better stuff for Christmas than me, and after that, and I really started to open my eyes to that, I began to realize, you know, it's not about the gifts, it's about the sentiment, it's about the fact that they thought about you and got you things for Christmas. And that's when you kind of developed your way of being humble, of, coming from almost nothing and realizing that, money only gets you so far unless you're rich, so you should be thankful for the things that you have and, appreciate the things that are done for you. And I think after that was when it clicked about what being an adult actually was. And once I became an adult, it was like being, I'm not gonna lie when I say this, I mean, this is literally the spitting image of being shot with a shotgun, like in the stomach. Like it's horrible. Like being an adult has its perks. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have mass freedom and you can do lots of things, but I mean, you have to pay bills, rent, living on your own, buying groceries for yourself, clothing yourself, taking a car to a job, working the job, giving up between 8 and 10 hours of your life, Monday through Friday. And it sucks. It does. I mean, I can't complain at the end of the day because I have a roof over my head and I'm able to actually live a decent life uh, since becoming an adult, but that doesn't mean I've still made terrible decisions. I've gotten myself into some sticky situations with pulling credit and, you know, doing things that aren't wise. Everybody makes mistakes, though. How are you going to learn from it if you don't make a mistake? And nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. It's learning from it that matters. But even so, it's tough growing up and becoming an adult, and I think the biggest challenge besides all that is dealing with these problems and making it through and dealing with adversity and being in your head all the time. And I I think that's very tough for anybody who is an adult. It is dealing with these things that you feel, and sometimes you break down and you feel you have nobody else to turn to. And yeah, you might have family you can talk to about it, but nobody knows exactly how you feel because only you know how you feel. People can relate to it, but only you know at the end of the day. And I think especially the biggest one is if you're an adult and you're alone and you're trying to figure things out, and like my situation in these past videos, talking about that girl and uh, navigating through being alone and trying to be loved. I think that's a big pillar of being an adult as well, especially for the fact that it was so much easier when you were in middle school and high school because you were forced to go to this place every day for most of a year, and you had your little crushes or whatever. But when you become an adult, it's not as forced. And the only time that really applies is if you're at work, and finding someone at work is that's a little that's a little tougher. It's you almost never come across that, especially for my age. I'm 24, and finding girls my age working at the type of environment that I work in, which is a warehouse, if I'm being honest. That's almost impossible that you're gonna find somebody of that age at a warehouse that's, a girl. And if you do, they probably already have somebody, if we're being honest. In my situation, I mean, obviously that person wasn't taken, they just aren't interested. And, I let it go. Don't be weird about it, right? If they're not interested in you, they're not interested in you, move on. But I still think that's one of the toughest pillars of being an adult. And that's you know, trying to find someone and find love. Not that you're trying to look for it, but coming across that, it's tough. I mean, dating apps control the dating market now anymore, and especially in our generation, for those who are 20 and 20 to like 28, it's hookup culture. That's what it is in 2025, and that's going to carry on into 2026, 2027. Hell, I don't even know if it'll ever go away. I mean, I'm sure hookup culture is a thing with people in their 30s and stuff, but it's not as common as for people who are in their 20s, mid 20s. It's just the biggest thing now, and there's even been statistics done of how many males between the age of like 20 and 26 are single, and the numbers between 46 and 49% of males are single. And I really wasn't surprised when I saw that statistic, and it's because of hookup culture. I'm not gonna bash on girls at all, but I mean, the numbers don't lie, and the intentions don't lie either. I mean, you see it all over Instagram, you see it all over TikTok, all over social media. Some are skits, some are real, of just women either cheating, going to the bars, getting absolutely wasted, doing one night stands. And it's whatever, you're that age, you do what you want to do. But me personally, I'm not looking for any of that. I never have actively seeked a one night stand. And I don't, because that's just not the person I am. It's not. I'm too good of a guy to want to hook up with somebody for one night. I can't bring myself to do it. I would feel way too guilty for doing that, because again, that's just not who I am. My friend group, my friends don't really care for that stuff. They don't care for the whole um finding the one, or hoping to go on like cute little dates and bonding with somebody. That's not really their game. They're just looking for their next opportunity and whatnot, and probably never seeing that person again. And that's cool. Everybody has their preferences or whatever. To be honest, I'm not gonna judge you for that because you do that. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. But me personally, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the connection. I'm looking for the one person that just pulls on your heartstrings and expresses themselves in a way that you can also express right back at them. That's huge. That's so huge for being an adult, is finding something like that. But in our generation, that's almost impossible. And you know, when you become an adult like that and you see what adulthood is like actually at face value, it's a dumpster fire. It's an absolute dumpster fire. I'm not going to get into politics or this and that because none of it really matters. It really doesn't. I mean, that's just how things are now. Technology is so versatile and so focused on making life convenient, but to me, I think it's just causing a hindrance to everyone and everything. It's almost like a vile disease that just gets everybody. I think that's really all I have to talk about, being an adult or whatever. I think the main point is, you know, hopefully you get lucky. For those of you who get lucky, congratulations. I I wish you guys the best. I really do. It's tough. It's tough out here. It really is. The best thing you can hope for is finding somebody at a party and turning them from a party person to a loving person. Uh, that's about where it's at. You're not really gonna conveniently find somebody at a grocery store shopping for product, and you're like, oh, let's hang out. You know, that's almost impossible. But I mean, hey, if you do end up coming across that, I guess shoot your shot. I mean, what do you got to lose? That's where I'm at now. I feel confident enough to want to actually, you know, approach girls now and try to shoot my shot and not be weird about it. Just be normal. Whatever happens, happens. It's more of what's gonna change about my life if I don't walk up to them and say something. What's what what's really gonna change? I mean, my situation's gonna be the same, anyways. Even if they say no, okay, whatever, cool. Go on about my day. And because of that, I think that's really helped in navigating adulthood a little bit better because I was always so nervous about it. I've only ever had probably about in my entire life five girlfriends, maybe on one hand, and it was always because it was mutual and I was usually approached first. So I never really had to worry about the whole trying to, tell a girl that I like them. And that was really my first attempt at doing that. And I failed. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely failed. But you know what? That's fine. Because there will be others, there will be more. And, I'll figure it out. That's part of being an adult. Nobody has the answers. We're just doing this thing as we go. and that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Do what you can. You know, you do your best, and the older you get, the wiser you get. Um, I hope I can, eventually figure it out and try to become the best version of myself I can every day. I know it sounds cliche and kind of lame and cringy, but I mean, that's really all I got. That's really all I have. Subscribe and like if you guys like the video. Uh, keep giving me suggestions, please. It'd be much appreciated. I would love to hear from you guys on what you think about these. Uh, Let me know if you want to hear about another topic. I definitely would love to cover anything you guys might have. So that's all. Thanks for watching. See ya.